I, Patrick Gichohi, having been nominated for appointment as a member of the Judicial Service Commission, do hereby swear that the information that I shall give the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs shall be the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
I want you to very briefly, before we go to other questions, let us know your background. Secondly, explain also to the committee how your educational and professional background has prepared you to add value to the commission if really appointed, approved by National Assembly.
I am a career parliamentary officer. I was employed by Public Service Commission on 15th of October 1979 as a clerk assistant trainee, having left the University of Nairobi. And I joined Parliament in 1979. As I said, I grew from clerk assistant trainee through the rank, the Assembly, to the position of the clerk of the Assembly in May 2008. That's my basically career part. I'm also, Mr. Chairman, an author. I've written 4 books about Parliament in terms of the structures that we have in Parliament, in terms of procedures, and in terms of the organization of the institution. Those books, Mr. Chairman, are available and they are being used not only in Kenya and also within the region. Mr. Chairman, I have also written a book. This is an novel, a history. It's on lost generations. It's not yet published. It's about the generation born between 1950 and 1960.
You are saying which generation lost?
The book is entitled Lost Generation. This is not yet out.
Can you speed up the publication we want to read?
Which is not lost. Mr. Chairman. This is the generation born between 1950 and 1960 during the emergency. I'm part of that generation, Mr. Chairman. It is the chances, the opportunities that some of us never had, that others had, Mr. Chairman. You did ask, Mr. Chairman, how am I prepared for this job? Mr. Chairman, in the course of my work in the civil service, I have been able to work with institutions, building institutions in terms of sustaining the growth of institutions, legally, human resource, in terms of structure. I did that for this National Assembly. By the time I was leaving, Mr. Chairman, I had set up the structure, and as Honorable Rago said, those structures were able to sustain this institution in terms of the Senate, the National Assembly. And my focus, mainly, Mr. Chairman, is on staff development, making sure the staff have the capacity, the ability, the competence to deliver their services. Mr. Chairman, the government has exposed me not only within Africa, but across the globe in terms of how do you strengthen institutions. And I believe, Mr. Chairman, I can add value to the Judicial Service Commission so that we can strengthen that institution, give it the beef, the meat that is necessary for it to deliver its mandate. It's a very critical institution. And apart from the judicial officers, we have the supporting staff. And Mr. Chairman, that is one area I would focus on. Mr. Chairman, in terms of recruitment, I've been exposed on courses on how to do competitive recruitment and selection and placement of officers. And if you look at my CV, I did that in this commission with the help of other bodies outside the service and also within the service. And we're able to recruit and select officers that are currently serving this institution. In terms of funding, Mr. Chairman, I am one person who believes that institutions cannot be able to survive unless they are adequately funded. I was instrumental, Mr. Chairman, in setting the National Assembly Fund and also making sure that we have adequate funding for this institution to be able to deliver its mandate. By the time I was joining the Assembly, we had a budget of less than around 50 million shillings. And in 1999, when we were setting up the committees, We started with the budget of around 2 million. By the time I was leaving, Mr. Chairman, our budget was 18 billion shillings. And most of that money, Mr. Chairman, the commissioner is here, was to go to staff reformment and also the infrastructure. And Mr. Chairman, one of it is the landmark building that is coming up here. I believe, Mr. Chairman, if my approval is granted by this honorable committee at the House, I can be able to add value the Judicial Service Commission that we can be able to share. Finally, Mr. Chairman, in my current position as the Commissioner of Public Service, we have set out around 9 policies, both on recruitment, on training, in terms of diversity of this country. And we can be able to share those policies, those experiences with the Judicial Service Commission so that they can be able to deliver the service they have, because it's all part of public service. Finally, Mr. Chairman, on the issue of discipline, I'm one person who believes that you cannot deliver if you don't have discipline. And I believe, Mr. Chairman, through my exposure, we can be able to ensure that the staff, they can be able to have that discipline for them to be able to deliver on the services that they're supposed to do, to give support to the judicial officers. I define, Mr. Chairman, the issue of enhancing the usage of ICT. These microphones you see, Mr. Chairman, these are new. By the time we reached this stage, this committee had no microphones. I would tend to think, Mr. Chairman, if my approval is granted, I can be able to add value to the Judicial Service Commission by trying to maximize on the usage of ICT.